that you gotta keep fighting. And even though it gets hard,
Pull this all up and get this started.
but you gotta keep striving through the fears and the losses.
What's going on, everybody?
So here's your heart's cry. Hold on to his words. Lean on him. It gets better, gets better.
The toughest war you ever face will be domestic. It's elementary. It's been this way for centuries. Cold War was raised against us. Take off them blinders, you will see.
Yes, sir.
That it ain't about them gas.
Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of A Mile in My Shoes. Tonight we have a very special guest. Tonight we're going to focus on what it is to hold on to your dream and never let it go. What is it? What's going on, Trent? What it do, my brother? We're gonna talk about what it is to hold on to the dream, the vision that God gives you, and never let it go until it comes to pass. Without any further ado, y'all give it up for my brother, Brent Broussard. What's going on, my brother?
Man, what's going on, B? What's going on, everybody that's tuning in? Hope y'all had a good day today, man. You know, every day is a good day when you're still above ground.
Yes, sir. So, my brother Brent, tell us about yourself before we even get into the vision that God gave you. For the people that don't know you, tell them who you are, because I'm pretty sure everybody see your face. If you from here, you see your face.
They probably seen me somewhere around town and probably didn't even realize who I was or who I'm connected to. None of that. But for those of y'all, that don't know me or probably never even knew me or, probably just seen my face around, because I do get around these days. My name is Brent P. Broussard. I am the CEO and founder of the Broussard Enterprise Group, which is a small business development and consulting firm, not only for two other entities that I have under the LLC, but also I'm opening up now to other small business owners that, need a little help and a little guidance, and kind of, mentoring those folks in the same way that I'm still being mentored by some of my own business mentors who have helped me, to get where I'm at. The two entities that I do have under the LLC, one of them is my beaded jewelry design company, Beads by Brentley. Basically, just to kind of give a brief backstory on that. In 2021, well, really before that, I've been in therapy since, the pandemic, just, dealing with different things that I, getting my mental health together. And
hold up, shout out to a brother that was strong enough to take the time. Hold up, we got to stop right there, B. And I'm gonna keep stopping you.
We can talk about that a little bit.
Because in our community, therapy. How were you brave enough to even take the step to get involved in it? Because a lot of people, even myself, I want to know, because I want to go too, man.
I mean, to be honest, bro, I'm just like everybody else. Like, when you hear somebody going to therapy, you automatically thinking, oh man, they crazy, something really wrong with them. But I really had to sit down and examine what was going on and what was happening, because, and I'm gonna kind of get into it a little bit later on too, but really for me, I guess you could say my mental health issues started not too long after my dad passed in 2017, because it really started with me grieving him and trying to figure out how to cope with that and taking care of my mom, my grandparents, and everything else that needed to be done. Plus, I'm still trying to work. I'm going back and forth to Baton Rouge before I moved to Baton Rouge. And then just dealing with everything, I started drinking heavily. And it just progressively got worse until, and, even in the middle of grieving and going through this little depression, I'm lashing out at anybody that's around me, just not even being truly conscious of what's going on. And it took me until my grandfather actually passed in 2020, right at the very beginning of COVID. And even trying to understand what this new normal was going to be and grieving him, I fell kind of deeper into it. And I was like, nah, I need to do something about it. So I ended up having a conversation with my girlfriend one night, and I just started crying like crazy and just pouring out all these different emotions and everything. And like in the middle of that conversation, she was like, "You know what? I think you may need to actually go to therapy and try to release some of this stuff that you've been holding in for so long. And, it might actually be beneficial to you."
Yeah.
So I started looking into going, found a therapist, actually found a Black therapist.
Yeah.
And it's been a hell of a journey ever since, bro. Like,
another question.
Yeah.
Where does the stigma come from? Like, just being afraid to go see a therapist. Like,
I guess truthfully, it comes from our parents and our grandparents being scared to really open themselves up to being vulnerable, to even tell somebody, "Hey, this is what I'm going through. This is how I'm feeling. I don't know if this is right." And of course, being in the church too, you're gonna hear, "Oh, well, you don't need to go to therapy. You just need to pray about it."
Right.
But that's
right.
Don't get me wrong. Prayer does work, but that's not the only answer.
Yeah.
And I felt like that too. Like, even going through this, like, I ain't everybody telling me to just pray about it. But at the end of the day, I'm still feeling like I'm lost. I don't have nobody to talk to no more because my dad is gone. I can't really talk to my mom about, what I want to talk. So I had to find somebody to talk to. And really going to therapy was the best thing for me. And it even opened up, other opportunities for me to have deeper conversations with my mom about stuff that I might be going through, or different conversations with my girlfriend about some of the stuff that we go through. And we've even gone to couples therapy too. Wow. Just to examine some of those things so that we can really be prepared and fully prepared for when we do, get married in the near future.
Can I get some amen, some likes, some online amens for this brother? Not only did he get his mental health checked on, but also brought your partner so y'all can get couples therapy.
Yeah.
Like, let's get some likes for people changing the narrative.
And also, therapy, she's also doing her own therapy as well, which has really brought out some really deep conversations, when we just chilling at night or when we're going on date night and having dinner.
Make sure I get your therapist number, because I want to try to get something myself, bro. If I be totally honest with you, my brother.
Trust me, I know a few therapists in the city that can definitely give you some help, man.
Yes, sir.
I know a few.
So carry on. We invested now, B. We invested now. Keep it going.
Yeah, man. So, but like I was saying before, it'd be like just going to that very first session, I was still nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to open up to this dude or how this is gonna go. And literally the very first question he asked me, it wasn't on, most therapists will ask, "Why are you here?" He was like, "Okay, so when you scheduled the appointment, you say you were having some depression and feeling certain ways. Where did that start?" And immediately from that question itself, the tears just started flowing, bro.
Hey,
like it was immediate.
Now you know my wife is a therapist too. She told me, and I feel free to talk about it. She said the first time I go in there, as soon as I start speaking, it's over.
Oh, it's over with, bro. It's over with.
It's over with.
Good. And really what it is all of those emotions and feelings and everything you've been holding in, finally being able to release.
Right. Because it's something with men, like we gotta feel like we gotta be Superman and
that, see, like that's another thing too. Though, be like everybody want us to be these hardcore individuals. We can't show no emotion, and I mean these are things we were taught from when we were kids, man. Like we can't cry, we can't do this.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's damaging us, and we're hearing this from our fathers, grandfathers, uncles, other men in the community, coaches. Everybody that's around us, and they don't realize that they're doing the same thing that was done to them and passing it on to us. So now, I'm trying to kind of reverse that cycle to where it's comfortable and it's cool for us to show these emotions and to get all this stuff out, because what a lot of men don't realize is the number one reason why we have heart issues later on in life is because we hold all this in and it becomes stress. And of course, as they say, stress kills.
Yes, sir. Silent killer.
Yeah, it's one of the most silent killers, and it's one of the reasons why so many men end up having all kind of heart disease, heart troubles, heart attacks, as young as you and me.
Yeah, it's real.
Like it's crazy.
It's real. So tell us more, man. We at the moment now. You already lost a parent. Now you're losing a grandparent.
Yeah. So at that point, I was just feeling like I lost the two central men that were very influential in my life, and I literally had to do something at that point. So, once I went to that first session and started releasing all of that, it just became like, all right, well, cool. I did this first one. I can come back and do this again next week.
Yeah.
And it just it started off with me going weekly. Then, when 2021 happened, we, started going once every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Did that through all of 2021. And then last year we started doing just once a month sessions, but still, like, every time I go, I have never left without a dry eye. Like, it can get that intense, because now we're even getting to the point where we've examined most of my, or some parts of my adulthood, but we're even now going deeper into my childhood, and it's bringing up some of those traumas and things that I didn't even realize I was still holding on to. Yeah. And I'm about to be 41 in 2 months.
Right, right. Now, B, what when you go in, what is that process of even like going from like robot mode to even trying to like, okay, how do I say this? Like, how is that process? Or soon as you allow, it's like,
nah, I mean, like, it really was a process, because literally that first session, I cried immediately, and then I went right back into my usual mode of cutting it off, and just like, nah, I can't do this. I'm being too vulnerable now. Yeah. But then, once I got a little bit more comfortable going, then it became a little easier and easier every week to where I can open up, and now I trust him more. Yeah. And I actually have somebody I can tell this stuff to. Yeah,
yeah. So it's almost like you build a relationship.
At this point, it's a relationship. It's a relationship, because out of one of those therapy sessions in 2021, as a matter of fact, it'll actually be 2 years on Saturday. We were in the session, we were talking about me being impatient, and out of that conversation, I was like, I noticed that my therapist was wearing these bracelets, and I'm like, hey, I like those bracelets. It's like, can we talk about that for a second? He was like, yeah. So he, basically told me that they were yellow tiger eye beads that he was wearing, and he told me what the properties of it was and everything. I was like, man, that looked really good. And he was like, well, I'm gonna give you a challenge. And I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever you throw at me, I'm gonna do it. They were like, well, what I want you to do is I want you to go get the beads, get you some string, and I want you to figure out how to make your own bracelet. And when you come back next week, I want you to have it on. So I'm like, all right, Doc, where the hell am I going to find this stuff at? Mm-hmm. And I left the session, literally drove to Hobby Lobby. Yeah. And was just running through the store looking for what I needed. Found like a bunch of wood beads and everything else. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me start off with this. Mm-hmm. Started, working with the wood beads, and I'm like, all right, let me figure out how I'm gonna tie this right, how to do this, and how this is gonna look, how I want it to look. And once I figured that out, that's when I said, well, let me find these tiger eye beads he was talking about. Yeah. And I found them on Amazon, ordered like 200 of them, and just started getting busy, like within 2 days of me getting the package. Yeah. So I ended up making like 4 different bracelets in that
Yeah.
one night. And I said, well, I got 2 for me. I can bring him one. And then I gave one to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And, when she looked at it, she was like, wait, this is beautiful. Like, you might have something with this too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, wasn't even thinking about kind of creating it as a business. I was mainly kind of doing it more for myself until I went back to the next session. We talked about it more, and he asked me how I felt. I said, well, I feel great. And he was like, well, since you did this challenge and you feel great about it, now there's plenty of other gemstones that are out there that you need to look for that can help you with stress or depression, anxiety, and all these other issues that plague us on a daily basis. So then I started doing the research, started ordering all of these different beads, and I'm like, okay, now, started making them for myself again. And that's when the light bulb clicked, and I said, wait, if I'm doing this for me, maybe I can educate other people on these gemstones that we as Black people have been wearing since the beginning of time, and not even realizing that, there's a historical complex to it.
Yeah.
So, I started looking up all of the different properties of them and what they mean and everything else. And then that's when you saw me slowly starting to post stuff on my page.
You done mess around and birth something out of your pain, man.
Yeah, like literally birthed out of a therapy session, and it turned into a business.
Yeah.
It was like people were hitting me up. They were like, man, can you make one fun? Can you do this? Can look, like people were DMing me, different gemstones that they wanted. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I got to come up with a name for this.
Yeah.
People, want to buy them. I'm like, all right, well, I need to really turn this into a little side hustle. And it just slowly manifested itself until I came up with the name Beads by Brentley because, for one, those people that don't know, my Instagram name is Farnsworth Brentley 82.
Yeah.
Now, the meaning behind that, we're not going to get on that tonight. That's a whole other conversation. But I said, being that Brentley was already there, I'm like, well, I can use that for part of the name. Yeah. And here I am, literally 2 years later. My first 9 months of doing it, I literally grossed $2,500.
Wow.
Last year, just by me selling them on my own and selling them off of both Facebook and Instagram, I did another 1,800, and then ended up finding a retail space to sell them out of as well.
Wow.
They're actually inside of a store called Earthfound, which is another place that I started finding a bunch of these beads. And I ended up getting cool with the store owner because she was, telling me about some stuff. And like literally every week when I would go to get more beads, she would tell me, hey, look, you need to think about these. Like, and then literally how I even got in their store was she came up with an idea of moving from where they originally were in the Northgate Mall to the old Foot Action store to kind of expand a little bit. But it was going to keep the original spot open and turn that into a vendor space for, anybody like me who makes jewelry and everything, or anybody that just needs somewhere to sell their items.
Yeah.
So, as one day I went in the store, I'm buying stuff as usual. She's telling me about this vendor space, and I'm like, well, hey, that I make bracelets. Why don't we partner up and I could sell my stuff out of there? And literally, like, that opened up in April of last year. Just within the first year of me being in that retail space, I've sold close to $700.
Wow.
So, that's not only has it created an extra income for me, that served as like, okay, well, I got this, but I need something else to kind of manage this.
Yeah.
So, October of 2021, I got word from one of my friends that had just went through this program called Accelerate Northside. For those people that don't know or have never heard about it, it's a 6-week entrepreneurial class that teaches you everything you need to know about either starting a business or if you have an existing business, how to grow it and expand it to, wherever you want to take it.
And it's called
So
Accelerate Northside.
yeah, like basically, the University of Louisiana Lafayette and the Lafayette Economic Development Authority partnered up to create this program.
Mm-hmm.
There's an actual center, the Louisiana Economic and Entrepreneurial Development Center on campus that houses the program.
Yeah.
What they did was they came up with an idea to revitalize the North Side and give business owners that, or even people that were thinking about starting a business, a way to not only create their business but find a space on the North Side to be able to build it.
Mm-hmm.
And several, people went through the first class. One of my friends, Kelsey Sanders, she has a
Mm-hmm.
catering business. Leah Porter went through that class as well.
Mm-hmm.
She owns Park Village on Moss Street, which is a beautiful space for performance artists, dancers, musicians, whoever needs a creative space to be able to do what they do. There's also a room in there for podcasters. There's a meeting room.
Right.
We do art exhibits, I think, once a month, as well as
and a lot of people don't know about this stuff, and it's right here in Lafayette. A lot of people don't even realize
it's there.
Right here in Lafayette.
Yeah. Sweet on V on Moss Street, she came out of that class as well. Mm-hmm. There's so many businesses that have been birthed from this program.
Now, how do you get in touch with them? How do you get in touch with them for the people that would like to know?
As of right now, they're in the middle of the spring cohort. I think they're on either week 3 or week 4. But typically, what they do is after every class session, because it is 6 weeks. Whenever they get ready to do the fall session, they normally put out the applications because you do have to apply for the class.
Right.
Normally, the cost is $450 to do it. Because if you really think about it, this is really a 6-week master's business class that you're taking. But it's all funded through a grant that LEADER gets, I think, from the federal government to be able to help push this out.
Gotcha.
And through the grant, they can actually waive $425 off of the registration cost to where you only pay $25.
Wow. I hope people take that information.
Yeah.
For those who are aspiring to start a business, definitely can help.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know nothing about. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, how I found out about it was Tina Bingham, who was one of my good friends, fellow Northside High graduate. She was also in the very first class when they did it in the spring of 2021. Mm-hmm. And we ended up talking about it, I think, during the summertime. And I was like, wait, what is this program? And she told me more about it. And I was like, wait, I might need to jump into this.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when the application popped up, she sent it to me and I heard her put it in. I was like, all right, if I'm meant to be in this class, I'm going to get in. Mm-hmm. And within 2 weeks, I got the email that I was in, paid the $25 after the waiver and everything, got in the class. I think we started in October of 2021. And when I tell you that was the best 6 weeks of my life, even though I had to give up my Saturday mornings to be able to do it, it was like the best 6 weeks of my life, because from that point on, not only did I get everything from Beats by Brentley straight, but I ended up forming the LLC, and it renewed my vision for the nonprofit, which we're going to get into in a minute.
Before we go there, I just want to take the time to encourage everybody who has a dream and a vision to build any type of business. Number one thing, invest in yourself and invest in the courses, the classes, the information, and the education needed to excel in those areas. A lot of people have visions and dreams, but when it comes to actually taking the time and the funds to actually invest in those things that we pursuing, I believe as a whole, a lot of times we fail in those areas.
Well, one thing too be like a lot of people don't even realize when they're given a vision like this, they just look at it like, oh, this is just some crazy dream. But it's really God trying to tell you, hey, I gave you this vision for a reason. At some point, either you're going to continue to run from it or I'm going to force you into following this vision through.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when it comes to looking at the classes or the certifications that are out there, a lot of people don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, most of it, yeah, it is going to be costly, but if you could pay for an iPhone, you can pay for one of them classes.
Yeah.
If you can go buy them new Jordan retros that come out every week, you can pay for one of them classes.
And I'm glad we're discussing this because, like I said, I believe this is information that has to get to the community as far as like following those passions and those dreams and visions, but actually putting the necessary tools behind it. So
Yeah.
tell us about this vision that was given to you, man.
All right, so it even starts before 2012. Like I told you when we were talking earlier. Back in 2008, I started working with the church youth group that I was going to at the time. I was still going to Our Lady Queen of Peace Catholic Church right there in Truman. Basically, that's the church that I grew up in. I got involved with the youth group, and I was, being a mentor to the young men in the group. And in 2012, I got this vision from God that literally told me I needed to do something, not just with the young men I was already working with, but to maybe take it to the young men in the city and possibly the state. And I looked at, I woke up from, out of the vision and I'm like, okay, how the hell am I going to do this? Like, I literally had to ask God, like, what are you telling me this for? And not realizing
that's usually how it works. God gonna give you
Yeah.
a vision way larger than you can even fathom. Yeah, that's how it works.
Like back then, I'm thinking like, how the hell I'm gonna put this together by myself? Like, I don't know anybody that's really in the nonprofit space like that. I don't know what avenues to even take to get this started. But then I say, you know what? Let me just go ahead and start doing the research. So I started looking into it. Most nonprofit organizations run under a 501c3, which is, a tax exempt form, to where nonprofits don't pay any taxes or anything.
Yeah.
Once I found that out, I said, okay, cool. Started really digging in, and I'm like, all right, most nonprofits either get funds from federal grant money, state grants, or, mostly donations and fundraisers. So I said, okay, well, I can possibly come up with some fundraisers to be able to do this. Well, fast, things happen, of course, and life gets in the way, and I kind of put it to the back burner a little bit. Fast forward to 2015, myself and a young lady that I was talking to at the time, we kind of, started talking about it because she had an idea of wanting to do one for girls. So I was like, well, why don't we partner up? We can, we probably two heads are better than one. We figure something out. So we actually had a name for the nonprofit. Back then it was called, if I remember correctly, it was Young Unique Prodigies. That was the name that we came up with. It had a logo. We were gonna get shirts done and everything. We were like, yeah, we're gonna hit the ground running, but still didn't really know what was needed or what to do. So back then I had set up a meeting with the Small Business Development Center at UL and actually talked to one of the reps over there. And at that time, they were not servicing nonprofit organizations. So they basically shut the door on me. And they were like, well, you have a good idea, but we really don't have a way to help you with that right now. Maybe we can, do something in the future.
Yeah.
I looked at that like, well, damn. Okay, y'all just closing the door? Fine. I'm done with this.
See, look, you took the thought out of my mind. That's usually how it takes place. When God gives you a vision, when you first step out, that test come to see if you really want it.
Exactly.
And that drop some likes if y'all have experienced that before. When God give you a vision on something, you go to step out, and then it's like,
Yeah, it's like pump the brakes a little bit. I don't think you really all the way ready for it just yet.
do you really want it that bad?
Right.
Do you really believe what I told you? Do you really have the faith
Right. And
to walk this out?
I even started questioning them at that time. I'm like, okay, you gave me this vision 3 years ago. I'm trying to step out and get this done, but they just slammed the door in my face. Like, what's really going on? But also at the same time that all of this was, or me trying to get this going, that's when my dad started getting sick.
Ooh.
And instead of me continuing to work on this vision, I put it aside and started focusing on, well, I gotta help my mom take care of him. Let me make sure I can do what I need to do for this. Trying to figure out my schedule to work around his appointments and everything else.
Yeah.
And literally 2 months before he passed, I was driving him to one of his doctor's appointments, and we're just having a conversation like always, because my dad was literally everything to me. Like, he was my therapist, my financial advisor.
Yeah.
Just whatever I needed, he was always there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on with this nonprofit idea that you had?" And I'm like, "I'm not worrying about that right now. I'm mainly trying to, take care of you and get you straight." And he was like, "Nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about me. If you were given that vision, God is going to tell you when it's the right time to really put it out. Mm-hmm. Right now, it may not be the right time. And even when he gave it to you, it wasn't the right time. But he's still preparing you for that time. And when it comes, you're going to see it. And that's going to be when you need to go ahead and do it." Mm. Not realizing that he's telling me this while he's preparing me for when he eventually, passes on. Mm. And even at that time, I'm still like thinking, he's going to be here till the end of the year. He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
2 months later, literally after my 35th birthday, he passed. And that's when I really had to sit back and really think, like, damn, he really was preparing me for everything.
Yeah.
Like, he was still teaching me stuff to do around the house, how to manage the, all the irrigation and the pipes in the gardens and everything. Not realizing, okay, at some point you're gonna have to take care of this.
Yeah.
So, fast forward to when I got into Accelerate Northside, I'm literally sitting in the week 3 class. And this is when I met one of my mentors who I'm, talk to literally weekly. A guy by the name of Corey Jack was presenting that, for that class, and he was talking about his nonprofit.
I know we're not talking about Spoken Red himself.
Yeah. Well, no, not Corey Frank, Corey Jack.
Oh, Corey Jack. Make me know
who I know Corey Frank too.
So, I was about to say, I know Corey Frank, man. Corey Jack.
I mean, that's a good dude, bro. That's a good dude. But
Corey Jack from Lafayette?
No. I forgot where he's from.
I know that name, man. Look at
you probably heard of Corey Jack. He's busy with everything because he got some stuff going on. But he was talking about his nonprofit that he had going with some kids that he was mentoring, teaching them financial literacy.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to this dude talk, and the light bulb went off, and I was like, wait, I need to talk to this dude after class.
Yeah.
So class ended. I literally packed up my stuff. I'm walking in the lobby. I'm trying to hurry up and run to him. And when I caught up to him, I was like, "Hey, man, look, I need to set up some time for me and you to speak, one day during the week, whenever you got some time on, whenever." And he was like, "Okay, cool. Well, what do you have in mind?" And I told him about my idea for my nonprofit. And he was like, "Definitely, we do need to sit down and let's figure this out."
I got a question. A question, Brent. since we talking about it, all of this, and I like to hit on points that I feel like everybody would really get some use from. How important, since you've been in this for a little while now, how important is it to have a mentor in all of this instead of just winging it?
Look, if I would have known what I know now back then when I first got the vision, I would have found a mentor then, and I probably would have had everything jumped off. Who knows how many kids I would have had, in different schools around the state or the country by now. But just by meeting somebody like Corey and even my other mentor, Charles Edwards, having those two guys in my corner, they will call me at least once a week to check in with me, and they will hold me accountable if I tell them I'm slacking. Like, that's their biggest thing.
For the people in here, y'all drop mentor in the comments, so when they come back and watch this video, they're going to see from us how important it is to have a mentor whenever you trying to take your lane, whether it be business or whatever it may be. It's very imperative that you have a mentor when you
definitely, especially if you're trying to get a business started or even thinking about it. Find somebody within that business that you're trying to start that can help you get there. I mean, even if you're trying to get into real estate or if you're trying to be a teacher, whatever, find somebody that you know have been in the game that you can actually be paired up with. And I kid you not, since I've been working with Corey, like, not only did he help me get my LLC paperwork straight, he helped me with the 501c3 paperwork.
Yeah.
Like, we got everything. I have my EIN number with the IRS. I have my business credit information to start building that. Like, we've been working on a lot of stuff. And, one of the good things also about having a mentor like Corey Jack too, being that he's one of the, I guess you could say he's an ambassador for One Acadiana, which is the big chamber of commerce out here.
Yeah.
Working with him, they literally have him working as one of their small business and minority business developers. So what they do once a month is they spotlight different small business and minority business owners. And I actually got spotlighted in August of last year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
Yeah,
this some good information. I'm telling you.
I mean, because one of the things that I say that really happened for me out of being in Accelerate Northside, not only did I meet my two business mentors, but I've also kind of been opened up to a different network of people that have now, been calling to talk to me about helping them with their business or helping them get into Accelerate Northside, in which I've gotten two people in one of the other classes, and I have two people that's in the class that's going on right now. So that's
something else.
Different doors.
Something else just popped in my head, B, that you just said about networking. And like I said, this is some good information. When you trying to make it to a certain place, you have to surround yourself with different people that are in that place where you're trying to go.
At least in somewhat of a similar place, because your mindset is going to shift when you start talking to some of these people. Because, like, I kid you not, like, the first time that I sat down with Charles Edwards, and for those people that don't know who Charles Edwards is, he is the CEO and founder of One Telemed. Like, he literally owns the largest telehealth medicine company in the state of Louisiana.
Wow.
And I mean, like, he started off with a vision that was given to him. Yeah. And like, he started his company back in 2015 or 2016 when telehealth and, doing Zoom calls with doctors wasn't even a thing back then. And people laughed at him.
Yeah.
But when the pandemic hit, his company grew like crazy because now hospitals are, they were calling him and asking him different questions. How can we set up this? How can we set up this? To where now he's pretty much the largest in the state, and other hospitals around the country are starting to, call him for stuff and calling him to work with him and, giving him other opportunities. But when I sat down and had my first conversation with him, he literally told me, he said, there's two things that I'm gonna do for you. One, I'm gonna help you get this mindset right. And two, by the end of 2023, you will be a millionaire.
Wow.
And I looked at this brother and I said, okay, if you say I'm gonna be a millionaire, then I need you to show me the way. And I kid you not, at least once a week he calls and he's like, hey, what you doing? What books are you reading right now?
That's that word.
Exactly. Like I kid you not, like he will text me at 5:00 in the morning and tell me, get up, pray, read a book, do something, and then go do what you got to do for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the kind of mentor he is. And when I see him at different events or even seeing him around town, he'll stop and he'll be like, hey, what book did you read? Or what book are you reading right now? Which is why, like, ever since I met him, I've started reading more than I used to. And if you pay attention to my page, at least once a month, I'm posting a different book that I'm reading. And a lot of times, some of those books I didn't got recommended from Charles.
Yeah.
Or I didn't got them from different people, or I might go to Barnes and Nobles, and the very first section I'm going to before I go anywhere else, I'm going in the business section. So I'm going to look for some kind of a business book.
So Brent, like for those who've been watching for the past few episodes, I don't know if Brent even knowing what he's doing, but that same word keep coming up. He's talking about mentor, but every night they've been talking about relationships. Why does this word keep coming up in every single episode? The power of the relationships, man.
Yeah, because like out of these relationships that I built, not just through Accelerating Art Side, but through having mentors like Corey and Charles, it's opened me up to, okay, now the CEO at one of Acadiana knows who I am. The Black Chamber of Commerce, they know who I am. You know what I'm saying? And even now, what really came out of all of this, outside of me, starting, Bees by Brentley and the Broussard Enterprise Group, I'm at the point now where I've opened myself up to getting into another program called Leadership Lafayette, which is through the Leadership Institute of Acadiana, which is also under one Acadiana itself. But what Leadership Lafayette is, it's a leadership program that was started back in 1989. Basically, it's about 30 to 35 like-minded individuals that not only want to learn some of the, back history of Lafayette, but also want to figure out how they can be an impact within the Lafayette community as a whole. So, in the group that I'm in now, we're 36 individuals. We are the most diverse class that they have ever had. And like that's even building a bigger network, because now I have a contact at CASA, the Court Appointed Special Advocates for Kids. I have a contact with Second Harvest. I have contacts with pretty much every entity around Lafayette that I can, go and talk to these individuals. And we normally text, pretty much every day, because we do have a group chat. But, we're checking in with each other. Like, we're setting up meetings to talk about other things outside of the class. And like, it's, building relationships with people can open you up to different opportunities. Because, not only to help build you up, but it can help maybe find you a better job if you're looking for, for something else, or, if you're looking to build your brand or whatever you're trying to do. If you get in the right rooms with the right people, you never know who can sit, or who you can meet that can sit with you and be like, hey, I know this person that can help you better than I can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's blowing my mind that every time it ends back on relationships, man.
yeah, like that's especially when, as a 2-year entrepreneur, or really I could say I've really been kind of in the entrepreneurial space most of my life in one hand or another, whether if I
Yeah,
was helping somebody else build a business or, helping, other people, but actually doing this myself and having the right people in my corner that are actually keeping me accountable of what I'm trying to do, man, it's a blessing.
hmm
You know, everything that I'm doing now wouldn't be possible if I didn't have some kind of relationship with somebody. Because
yeah,
even through me being now being on the advisory council for Big Brothers Big Sisters, that came out of one conversation with the CEO herself.
yeah.
Like literally 2 weeks ago, myself and the rest of my classmates in Leadership Lafayette, we were acknowledged at the Leadership Institute annual meeting. And after the meeting and everything, we're, kind of networking with some of the people that were there. And the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters comes over and she was like, "Hey, I've been hearing good things about you. I'm gonna give you a call in a couple of days because we need to sit down and talk about some of this stuff." And the only reason why she came up to me was because she knows that I'm a volunteer. And, of course, when you get matched up with a kid, they post a picture and everything. So whenever she called me, she was like, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I've been hearing great things about you. Um, since you're already a volunteer, what do you think about being a member of the advisory council?" And I'm like, "Wait, what? Are you asking me to?" And she was like, "Yeah, like I really think you would be very beneficial. You're trying to establish a nonprofit and everything, and I have a couple of contacts that can help you with grant writing and everything." And in my head, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I need to go ahead and do this because now it's gonna open me up to seeing how I can build my board of directors or my advisory council and how to be able to run those meetings,
hmm
as well as maybe talking to one of her contacts about getting a grant written for me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's building those relationships. It can lead to you getting in these rooms with CEOs that know people that can help you. And
yeah.
they can even, offer things to you.
hmm So, what is your goal? Like, as far as the program that you're building, what are
Yeah,
some of the?
with the with the nonprofit, what the vision was and what it still is I want to work with kids ages 12 to 18, which is really the prime time of your life when you're trying to figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, and if you want to go to college or if you want to go to the military or whatever. And not only do I want to teach them the critical life skills that they're not learning in school anymore, but I also want to talk about mental health and I want to talk about financial literacy and teach them the things that will really set them up to be the best people in the community and really bring a better future to Lafayette and
Yeah,
wherever they want to go. So but also still have that mentoring and tutoring aspect as well, and
yeah,
and helping them with resume building, job skills, getting them prepared for how to properly dress for a job interview, how to answer those questions correctly. I actually giving them everything they need and giving them all the tools that they need. That way, whenever they do go on the job interview, they're not going in with a t-shirt and some jeans on like
yeah.
most kids are doing now. Things
Y'all
that
drop
we
some.
would.
Y'all drop some lights for this brother out here impacting the youth and young adults and getting them ready, man. Drop some likes and some hearts for this man actually pouring back into his community, man. I love that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly
I
say,
love that, man.
even in my time when I was still working with the youth group, a lot of those kids that were in high school back then are now getting into their 30s. They're still calling me for advice.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I've literally watched a lot of them, graduate high school, go to college, graduate, get good jobs and everything. One of the young men that I worked with, his name is DeAndre Wilson. When he first got into the youth group, he was 12 years old. We sat down, we had a conversation. I asked him, I said, what is the one thing that you want to do when you get older? And he told me he wanted to get into real estate. So I'm like, all right, cool. I know a lot of realtors. Whenever you're ready for that, let me know. I can get you plugged in with him. Fast forward, he, graduates high school, goes to UL, kind of struggles a little bit, but he, he did finish. He started a business with some of his friends. He was doing, like, they were doing power washing, driveways and homes and everything. But, we were having a conversation one day, and I asked him, I said, hey, you still thinking about doing real estate? And he was like, yeah, the money that I'm making now, I'm going to use that to be able to take the real estate licensing class and pay for the test. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm proud that you even still have, having that thought. I said, but when you're ready to jump in the game, I know the perfect person that you can work with.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got his license, I told him, I said, hey, go talk to this girl named Brandy Siner. I've been knowing her for years, went to high school with her. She's one of the top real estate brokers in the state. Yeah. Go talk to her. She may have an opportunity for her. Literally within his first 6 months, he's already sold $2 million in homes. Literally. And this is all from a dream that he had when he was 12 years old. And he just turned 30 last year.
It's never.
When I tell you, I'm so proud of this dude.
Never too late to fulfill
It's never too late to follow your dream, man.
Somebody type that in the comment. It's never too late, man. It's never too late, man.
Never too late. I mean, look at me. Like, I was given this vision back in 2012 when I was 30, and it's finally starting to come into fruition, and I'm about to be 41 in May. So
what I heard, though, be the bigger the dream, the longer it takes, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, if you really, really think about it, bro, most of, like, let's say somebody like Morgan Freeman, well-known actor, we all know him and love him. He didn't really get his big break until he was 40. Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his big break until he was 40. Oprah didn't get her big break until she was approaching 40.
Let me touch on that, B. Let me touch on that, B. This is what I feel. I feel when it comes to dreams and visions and stuff like that, especially if, let me say this, especially if you following God. Like, yeah. I feel he prepares you to be able to withstand whatever that is.
Yes. Because, like, I even look at it too, like on a biblical sense, when you look at the story of David and how he was prepared to become king. You know what I'm saying? And, so many other people that he prepared for different things that he wanted them to do.
Because this is the thing, B. You can get it fast and it can go fast.
Oh, yeah.
But something about when you train and you've been through the test of time, you really can withstand and stand in that and hold that for the long run.
Yes, because I will not lie to you, being an entrepreneur and still working a 9-to-5 is not only the craziest grind, but it is a grind. And it's 24-hour dedication. Like, there's most days I may not go to sleep till 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, because I'm either doing some kind of research or I'm updating my website for my beads. I'm researching and ordering stuff for that. I'm looking at grants. I'm looking at, an office space for when I do get grant money. I'm looking into all of this, and like even how to build business credit to be able to use that more than my own personal credit that I'm even still building. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of information.
All of that. And it's a lot of information. Some nights I can't even sleep because my mind is still racing from everything that I just read and researched. And I got to get up at 7:30 in the morning to get ready to go to work for 9 and, get off of work, get home by 6, and I'm jumping right back into it.
Something that guy gave him about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a quote, and it said, "Don't change my outside until you change my inside."
Exactly.
And something I've noticed, the more and more that I do that work on that inside, everything around me is unfolding.
I mean, if you really think about it, bro, with my whole mental health journey and me being in therapy, that was another way that he was really preparing my mind for what was about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I mean, it really can be done.
That's real. Look, Mama Spriggs say God gives you a vision and will provide the provision. It
Yes,
does not happen overnight.
that is
Hit
the
some likes
truest statement.
for
That
Mama
is the
Deborah
truest
comment. Somebody
statement.
give us some likes, man. And we had another comment. Yanni say Jesus the Christ himself didn't start his ministry until he was 33. Somebody
Yeah,
drop some likes for that young lady too, man.
yeah,
I feel
definitely
that.
some real talk right now.
So, B, let's do a act right now
Yeah,
before we move and get out of anything like that. I'm your mentee,
all right.
and I'm jumping off the porch, and I'm like, cuz I got dreams I want to fulfill. What's 3 things my mentor Brandon is going to give me? And I'm fresh in the game, just like, man, I'm trying to change my life. I want to do business now. What are you going to give me, Brent, as my
The,
mentor?
the matter of fact, the very first question I'm gonna ask you is, what is your biggest passion in life right now?
Mm.
Like, that's the number one thing I'm gonna ask. Then
Somebody
I'm gonna,
type that for me.
then
Number
I'm gonna
one,
ask,
number
you
one,
know,
what's
what's
your
your
passion?
biggest passion?
I got you on that. We there. Y'all taking these notes. Somebody gonna use this. Trust me, what I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
Number one,
look, I'm sure somebody gonna hit my inbox when this is over with.
yes, indeed. Look, I typed it wrong, but y'all get the picture. Number
Yeah,
one, what's
number
your
one is
passion?
gonna be what's your passion, because that was the same thing Charles asked me.
Now, B, before we go to number 2, why is what's your passion is the
Because
most important?
if you truly know what you're passionate about in life, that's gonna tell you which way you really need to go. Like, I know for you, when you were still doing music, and I don't know if you're still doing it now, but at one point that was the biggest thing in your life.
That was
That
it.
was that was the one thing that was kept you awake at night, and that had you constantly writing and going in the studio to record and trying to put out CDs and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. See, now you're saying that. Okay. Passion is what kept me when life wanted to stop.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So once you figure out what that passion is, and then I'm gonna ask you, have you read any books about it? Like, have you studied
Oh
it
Lord.
to even understand what you want to do?
Somebody in here dropped that scripture. Study to show y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Study to show
Yeah, I
thyself
forgot
approved.
what scripture it is too, but it's there.
I
It's
keep
there.
mistyping this. What's going on with this, man? I'm trying to type what you're saying so fast, man.
Yeah, man. Slow it down a little bit, B.
Let me slow it down, man. 2 dot 8.
Yeah.
So what's number 3, B?
The third question I'm gonna ask is,
Have you
what
studied? Boy,
like,
that's big.
or I'll even ask, have you thought about what the business structure is going to look like? And if you did think about it, have you put it to paper?
Hold on. Go. All right, B. You went advanced on us. Let's back up.
Yeah.
Break down what exactly, because I fully understand where you're at.
Yeah.
But break down what is the business structure. What is that? What does that mean?
What that means is, especially when it comes to business, most people that start businesses are going to start automatically thinking that they need an LLC, and 9 times out of 10, they really don't. But basically, for those that don't know, you know, an LLC is a limited liability corporation. Basically, most of your big businesses like Walmart, Sears, and everything else, the parent company was always an LLC. Or a lot of the different employers that are around, the parent company is going to be the LLC. Yeah. Typically, that's who actually pays you. That's where you actually get all of your your payroll and everything else. Because it's usually going to be the LLC, and when you get your W-2 at the end of the year, they have what's called an EIN on it. That's the employee identification number. That's basically the tax information so that you can get paid properly. Now, if you don't want to set up an LLC, a lot of business owners will set up a sole proprietorship, especially if they're a single owner or anything like that. Mostly with a sole proprietorship, you can pretty much do any and everything that you want to do, but on the tax end of it, you end up having to file like a 1099 at the end of the year. If you trying to get into the nonprofit space, you need a 501c3 to be able to get those tax exemptions.
Yeah.
So, depending on what type of business they're trying to get into, that's where I ask them, well, what's going to be the business structure? That way I can, really figure out, what's the best way that I can help them. Or if I can't do it myself, then I know somebody that's already in that space that can help them, and that can get them to, the right website that they might need to go to fill out whatever they need.
My cousin got me covered, man. I'm trying to type and talk. She got me covered, man.
Now, pretty much everything that I just said, like the 501c3, sole proprietorship, LLCs, LLPs for anybody that's in the legal professions, all of that paperwork is found on the Secretary of State website. So, and I mean, it's real easy to fill out. You can just go. Actually, it's on the Secretary of State website. There's another. There's a link that'll give you all the paperwork that you need.
Somebody typing this. Somebody typing this right now.
Yeah. But on there, definitely, if you're going to file an LLC, that's going to be $100 to file the LLC. But also with the LLC papers, you have to file your articles of incorporation as well, which is another way that the state can, really legalize your business.
Yeah.
Once you get all of that in, every year you have to file an annual report of how much money your business has made. If it hasn't made anything, you have to file all that. That way, your business can still be legal within the state of Louisiana.
Right. So definitely, depending on how much money is coming in, you definitely might want to get somebody that actually is a professional in that area too.
Like typically, and even right now, what I'm looking at is I'm talking to one of my leadership Lafayette classmates who's a CPA.
Yeah.
And, we've been talking, and, she's even reviewed my paperwork and looked at everything. And she's like, what the hell you need me for? I'm like, I'm going to need somebody to be able to handle the money. Like, I can't handle this myself. So definitely, find a reputable CPA, not just Pookie from down the street.
Right.
Whoever do these bootleg taxes that was doing PPP loans and getting everybody in trouble.
If you're gonna take it serious, you gotta take it serious.
Get you somebody that really has the accreditation to do what you need. Otherwise, especially when you're playing with federal money, you need somebody.
You don't want them trouble.
You don't want to mess up federal money because I've seen and heard of people that used these bootleg CPAs and ended up having to do federal time behind federal money. Like, it's serious. You got to have somebody that knows what they're doing, especially with any kind of federal funds.
Everybody in the comments, I need y'all to like the video and share it. The goal is 50 likes and 50 shares. And another thing too, I need y'all to follow this young man and watch his journey unfold, because I truly believe he's going to become everything that God showed him and some more. Follow him in this journey, and I'm believing in that meal for you before 23 get over with.
Oh, trust me, I'm already working on it every day, man.
And look, I truly believe I'll be right there shaking hands with you too, man. God is doing, he's doing some beautiful things right there. Hey, to those who are willing to be obedient and trust him and put the work in, B.
Oh yeah, because definitely as an entrepreneur, you do have to put the work in on a daily basis.
And also too, I have to say much respect to you, because you know I've done a lot of research and I've been on this stuff for a while. The stuff that you dropping, I hope the people know that people charging a lot of money just for the information that you give. I'm telling you.
Yeah, like they're literally, I know other business consultants that will charge upwards of $500 just for the knowledge that I'm giving. Now,
somebody drop some likes for this young man for giving us this knowledge, man.
I will also drop this as well. I know two guys that literally will give free business advice on TikTok. One of them is Cliff Roy, and the other one is Dwayne Williams. They partnered up together. Like, Cliff has his business. It's called Penn Business Solutions. He literally is one of the top-notch people you can go to if you need a logo for your business or whatever you're trying to do. If you need a website done, he'll do it all for you. Dwayne Williams, he literally handles taxes and everything else for businesses. Now, Dwayne is out of Houston. Cliff is here in Lafayette. But they partnered up together, and they actually started doing this as a daily talk with business owners. They originally started it on, I think it was Google Meet, and then they moved it over to TikTok to get a bigger audience. But literally, the gems that they drop in the mornings, it will literally have you thinking like, okay, maybe I might need to do, I might need to tweak this in my business plan, or I might need to get with this person to talk about this. Because I kid you not, like, out of the conversations that I've had with both of these brothers, they've given me a lot of knowledge. Like, Dwayne is actually, somebody that I'm looking at to do my business taxes at the end of this year. You know what I'm saying? So, it's good to have those kind of people in your corner as well, because they will call you and be like, hey, man, what you doing?
Right.
What you looking at? Or, they'll tell you, hey, you might want to watch what you're posting on social media.
Yeah.
Don't post it because, as a business owner, I'm not just a person. I'm also a brand now. And the more that I wear, my polo shirts that have my logo on it, people are noticing it. And if they hear or see me doing anything crazy, the first thing they're going to say is, oh, no, I can't mess with him. I can't, or don't mess with him. He was out at Miami Moon Sunday night. Now,
say that again, man, because when you choose to become a business owner, you become a brand. I'm hearing a lot. When you said that, I'm hearing a lot right now.
Especially if you wear anything with your business logo on it. Like, most of the time, if I'm going to different events or if I'm speaking at different events, because I'm even getting into public speaking as well, I'm gonna wear, one of my polo shirts that has, my business name on it on one side and my name on the other. So a lot of people, they, if I'm at these places, they're gonna see, oh wait, so okay, cool. That way, when I give them my business card or even show them the dot card that I have that literally has all of my website, my all my socials and everything on it, they're associating my face with my shirt. Or even if I'm wearing my hoodie that has my Bees by Brent logo on it, they're seeing, okay, that must be his business. So they're gonna associate with, whatever I'm doing. So
she said, you are your brand 24/7.
Oh yeah, you literally become a brand. And the more you put yourself out there, that's the more people are going to look and be like, okay, well, I've seen them, downtown on Jefferson acting the fool. I'm not going to mess with them. Or I'm going to tell other people, hey, don't do that.
Look, B, this is blowing my mind because organically, like, we having a whole miniature business class. Like,
somewhat.
This is some real business class. Like, this is the information you get when you start stepping into that mentor life. Like,
right.
But, and look, B, let me go ahead and put it out there. The reason why I'm saying that I appreciate you so much, B, is because for some reason, there is this mind frame that when people get into those lanes, become successful, they never reach back to pull other people with them. So I don't want to look. So I don't want to joke around when it comes to me saying like I really appreciate you, because I really mean that when I'm saying that. You know what I'm saying? It's breaking the cycle of crab in the bucket. No, you learning information and you reaching back like, hey, this is what I got.
That's my thing, because originally when I formed the LLC, I said it was just going to be, be the manager of the nonprofit and Bees by Brent. But, as I'm starting to get into some of these rooms and talking to different people, I'm realizing I need to open this up to everybody that's trying to do something. And I can't just hold this information for myself. So,
think about it though, B.
Yeah.
Like, what happens? Because we always talk. Let's talk about it, B. We gonna stay a little while longer, B. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
We always talk about oppression and everything else.
Or even, us as Black people will go into other Black-owned businesses, and if they don't treat us a certain way, the very first thing we want to do, we want to go on Facebook and on social media, trash them, and tell everybody, y'all don't need to go here, y'all don't need to go here, but not realizing we're taking money out of that person's pocket.
Right.
And that, that all comes from either being jealous of what they're doing or just having certain expectations. And if they're not met, then you just feel like you got to go on social media and trash them. Don't get me wrong. I do it too when I get bad service. But it's not just from Black business owners. It'll be from anybody with a business. Because if I go into a restaurant and my experience is not what it should be, I'm going to let it be known. That way that person can look at it and say, okay, well, you know what? I might need to tweak this so I can fix this for, if he decides to come back. So we can give him a better experience.
And I'm a strong believer when it comes to people as a whole coming out of poverty, until we learn how business works, and it's information that we have to know in order to successfully gain wealth and finance.
Like, so many people don't want to take the time to learn the business and learn what's really going on behind the scenes for them to even understand why that certain interaction didn't go right. Because I look at it for me, if I have an aspiring business owner come to me and say, hey, I need your help, I want you to help me with this. The first thing I'm gonna ask them is, okay, cool, let's set up some time and let's talk about what if issues you're having trying to get things started, and let me see where I can help you with it.
Look, go hand in hand. Info and relationship. You didn't brought hey B. You didn't brought some things tonight, B. You didn't brought some things tonight, man. Info and relationships, man.
That's
Power.
the two biggest things, man. Because like I'm constantly reading and trying to understand what I'm getting into. That way, when somebody asks me a question about it, I can spot that knowledge right back to it.
We perish because of that lack of knowledge, man.
And that's another thing too. Be like nobody wants to read, nobody wants to study it unless they hear it from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
she said you can't be afraid to spend money to make money either. Invest in yourself. That is the greatest investment you will ever make is in yourself.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I kid you not, if I wouldn't have spent that $25 on getting into accelerating outside, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
The connections, the information, and yeah, like I said, as a whole, like this information has been held hostage.
Yes.
But it's coming out, man.
Oh yeah, it's coming out.
It's coming out, man.
The thing is, you got to get with the right people that's going to help. That's going to give you the knowledge too. That way, you can actually go back and study and look at it and be like, okay, well, how can I apply this to myself? Let alone how can I tell somebody else that wants to get into it to be able to do
it. If you do not know, we are currently in the age of information. Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, this is the number one tool that everybody has, to get all of their information.
I don't care what you want to do. There's absolutely no excuse that you can't excel in any area.
Now,
there's no more excuse.
I will say this too, be like there's a lot of people on social media that will tell you, hey, you need to set up an LLC, you need to do this, you need to do that, but they're not telling you what to do after you set that up. And it just leaves people like, okay, let me go set up an LLC, but then they're like, well, what do I do after? Or what am I really setting this up for?
And then like that key word that you said is certain ways you got to structure these things too.
Yes.
And it's not just setting it up, B. No, you got to structure
it's
them.
really understanding why you're setting it up that way, because even as somebody that owns an LLC myself, if anything happens while I'm out, or even whenever I do have an office space, if something happens in that office, I got to protect myself and my company. That's really what the LLC is for.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
look, we got a supporter in there, B.
Yeah, Monique is my former neighbor.
Got you.
And we actually grew up together. Matter of fact, on Briarwood. That's the homie right there. I saw her earlier at the fentanyl awareness event that I was at.
That's a whole nother topic right there, man.
And when I tell you the stuff they were talking about at that event, bro, you wouldn't even believe how crazy that is.
That's a whole nother beast going on right now.
Crazy. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic, man.
That's a whole nother beast right there. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Brent? Look, again, every time one of y'all come on here, I gotta go back and watch and take notes from all the stuff that y'all dropping and leaving, man. Look, like and share the video if y'all enjoyed Mr. Brent on tonight. If y'all have any questions, I'm gonna leave the questions up here for a minute. I'm gonna leave it open. If y'all have any questions for him, also too, will you open it up if they want to reach out to your inbox, ask any questions?
Yeah, definitely hit me up on Facebook, Brent P. Broussard. My inbox is always open to anybody that has questions. Feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Both of the B's by Brent pages are up. I try to update both pages as much as possible. Like I said earlier, you can purchase not just from the Facebook and Instagram pages if you hit the inbox, but you can also go to Earth Found in the Arcade Mall It is Suite E6, right next to Lowe's Boutique. My vendor booth is booth number 4. Whenever you walk in, it's going to be on the second row of shelves. It's going to be one of the very last ones at the end. But I have a bunch of bracelets and I have a couple of necklaces up there now as well, so you can get it from there.
Also, too, Brent, can you come back and drop the link to where we can order from you on this actual video?
Yeah. I'll be able to drop it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll be able to drop it.
Let me see. We got comments. Hold on. Mama D said, "Keep on keeping on. Thank you for being obedient." Yes, indeed.
I appreciate that.
What is the best way to make an acquaintance when trying to make a new connection? Best tips for that. Ooh.
Look, I'm gonna tell you from my own experiences. You just got to put yourself out there and go to some of these different networking events. Like I've been to a bunch of networking events. Like I think it was last summer, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce put on an event with a lot of business owners. So a lot of people was networking and figuring out things and learning from other business owners in the city. I didn't even know there was a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce until I went. Like I was perplexed that
you saw my head turn whenever you said.
Yeah. Like, I knew one Acadian. I knew the Black Chamber of Commerce because, I go to those meetings at least once a month whenever I can. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know there was the Hispanic Chamber. I'm like, where the hell this came from? But I went, met with, some of their representatives, and they had people from the Small Business Administration, different insurance companies talking about business insurance.
Yeah.
Like they had it all.
Yeah.
It was really a beautiful event.
Right.
But I've also been to, and I'm getting involved with this. It's a group called the 705. They're basically a lot of young professionals. They get together at least once or twice a month to do different networking things. Within Lafayette, just to sit down with other business professionals or professionals and just talking about things. And even like I said, with Leadership Lafayette, that's a whole nother network of people too. So
I'm definitely gonna be getting with you, my brother. I'm definitely gonna be getting with you.
Definitely, I can plug you into a lot.
I want to be around. Like I said, I know I got to place myself around people who's after those certain goals. To be around those different energies in those different spots. I'm gonna be around you, man. Just know it.
Yeah, man. Just know it. Get at me. We'll sit down one day. We'll talk about it, and I'll plug you into a few people. I got some contacts.
Basically.
I mean, my network is growing, bro. Like I literally went from being by myself to now I have 2 business mentors and 34 other people in Leadership Lafayette that I talk to, plus, my classmates from Accelerate Northside, people from the other 2 classes that I've helped get in, and it's just steadily growing by the day.
So I hope that this episode encourages many people to tap into that business oriented side that each of us have it in us. It's just you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to work hard on the daily, and you can't be afraid to go after that information, man. Information and relationships is the key.
It's out there. Like there's so much information about literally everything, and most of it is in the one place that we as Black folks can be scared to go. The library or Barnes and Noble. It's all in the books.
Yes,
it's just we're scared to go look for the information unless we're either put into a place where we have to do it or we just fall into it.
We changing the narrative out here, y'all.
Yeah.
We changing the narrative out here, man. So I appreciate you again, my brother. Thank you for all the information. Thank you for your story. Thank you for allowing us to walk a mile in the shoes of Mr. Brent P. Broussard himself, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and have a good night, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Hit me up, B. I got you.
I will. Y'all have a good night. Much love. Stay up. Word, man.
All right, man. Be blessed.